All right, so we're live again. We're back on the session, and everyone who was there in the last session is going to be joining in from their previous session to this session. So meanwhile, Yael is with us. She has taken the plunge to bring real world assets on blockchain as well, and bridging all the gap between traditional assets that could be brought to blockchain. And now that the NFT segment came in with the digital whole metaverse thing, so a lot of tweaks and things would have been done by Yael as well in formalizing her practices. So we'll get to know a lot more about Yale and Solid Block and how they're helping people bring real world assets, especially properties and real estate, on towards the blockchain. And so Yale, if you could tell us about yourself and what you're doing and how you foresee the future with real world assets being on blockchain and how is it going so far. I'm going to be on the backstage, and let me know whenever you need me. I'm going to be out here.
Okay. Can I have a beer?
Sure. Not now, but when we see on a real event.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for this intro. Hi guys, hi everybody. Hope everybody's doing fantastic. And thank you for this introduction. I'm going to be sharing my screen on a presentation. So let me see. Can somebody tell me if you see my screen? Let me just go back and just make sure, maybe write in the chat. Okay. Guys? Okay, hopefully, yes. Okay, perfect. So I'm gonna go back to the presentation. All right, so my background is in finance. I worked on Wall Street from the age of 18, moved to financial engineering, M&A, private equity. So I've always been thinking all the while I was investing money on behalf of other people, how can people like myself invest, right? Even though you have so much knowledge, you still are limited by regulation, you're limited by taxation, you're limited by all these things. Now, blockchain is an obvious solution for enabling and empowering individuals to invest their money and to manage their money and to grow their wealth. And the reason why I believe is, and actually what's going to get us there, is tokenization. So let's review what is the difference between the traditional finance, what I call finance 1.0, and the new finance, the decentralized finance, the finance 2.0. So the traditional finance is what we've known our entire lives. Basically banks govern and control people's assets, and DeFi is open finance. This is what we're going to. The traditional banks also take notice, and that's why they invest in tokenization, they invest in crypto solutions, right? So what is DeFi? Individual is the sole custodian of assets, so you are your own bank. It's open source. It allows for new instruments, which is really cool for companies like Solid Block. You have both traditional and newly tokenized assets, and you have total transparency of all the things surrounding it, right? The issuance, the repayments, the loan and collateral, everything is super transparent and much more improved from this centralized version. Right? So this is just graphic representation of what it looks like. The traditional financial system, you have a bunch of banks connecting people, and then you have the decentralized system where a network of computers is connecting people. Now, mind you, some of these computers could actually be banks, right? But they don't control and they don't centralize the control under the banks, right? They could actually be a part of the ecosystem, right? So we have a lot of new things happening in this industry. Specifically lending protocols and DeFi is something that mimics the banking system, but because of these new blockchain-based, they call them on-chain loans, right? We get to use tokenized products as collaterals, for example, for a loan. We get to use different processes to return loans, right? We get to put crypto money in a vault and earn money on top of it. So there's all these new things to learn in the decentralized finance, right? And then you have exchanges, which is a new way for people to trade, right? As opposed to a traditional exchange with traditional products. Now we have this DeFi exchanges with other types of products, other types of processes. Again, a lot to learn here. We have stable coins, which actually were born out of the need of individuals to use crypto to do transactions, right? Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other currencies are very volatile, right? So there was a need to stabilize crypto and keep the same properties of crypto, right? So that's all attributes of finance 2.0 that we're all building together right now, right? We're changing the rules, we're building that now. So why is tokenization actually so important, and what is tokenization? So tokenization essentially is two things: securitization and digitization of assets, right? Why do we need to securitize assets? Well, think about how a lot of people are making money by investing in startups at an early stage and, exiting together with these startups with a lot more money, right? So this could be through a public market, or this could be through a private market. On a private market, this jump is much higher because you're able to invest in a company when the valuation is very, very low. Now, my question, as a real estate professional was, why don't we have this process for real estate? Why can't we take a project before it was born, right? Before, when it's at the idea stage and there is the land that we want to build, why don't we take that project? Why don't we sell it then to investors when it's a very low valuation, right? And then in 2-3 years, it's going to go up in value several times over, and you're going to be able to make really nice revenue. So that's what we're doing at SolidBlock. We're enabling tokenization of traditional assets such as real estate, right? Why is tokenization so important? Right now, the demand for liquidity is super high. People are impatient. They can't be sitting on assets for 5 to 7 years and wait for a company to exit, wait for a real estate asset to be sold. People want to trade. So that's one reason. Another reason is the market opportunity. There's so many assets that are not being able to participate in this, liquidity trend, like real estate, $300 trillion, right? So the third thing that's really important and really interesting is that finally the regulation is catching up. The regulators are saying, okay, we can probably control crypto. We can probably, these are the rules, how you can trade crypto, you can buy, you can hold. And these are the rules also how you can use blockchain to trade. How do we use blockchain to trade anyway? We're using blockchain just to connect the owners to the asset, right? Blockchain we're using smart contracts to write down literally who owns the asset, who bought a piece of the asset in the blockchain ledger. Now that's helpful when we take that smart contract to an exchange, and now people can start trading these assets or parts of the asset in a disintermediated manner, right? So thankfully, about 9 years ago in the US, regulators came out and said, go, use blockchain for this type of for this type of a new financial model, right? So with that in mind, by the way, COVID, which hopefully COVID actually helped this whole process go much faster, accelerated it. It's a horrible tragedy on the one hand, and on the other end, people woke up to the need for things like tokenization, for the need of people to be in charge of their own asset, right? So I'm gonna speed up a little bit just because I know we're like behind schedule here. And I'm just gonna go into kind of the benefits of offering liquidity, right, for assets. So why is liquidity so important for real world assets? Well, number one, it makes the underlying asset much more attractive, right? In 5 years, I predict that very few assets are gonna be financed in the traditional way, and the majority will actually be financed through the blockchain systems and will actually offer investors a way out, exit, right? It will offer a liquidity mechanism and liquidity tools. Number two, assets are actually more valuable as a result. We see that there's an immediate jump in the value of the asset once it offers liquidity. And finally, global investors, trade is much more global. You have New York Stock Exchange, for example, or Chicago Stock Exchange, or Montreal. There are many stock exchanges out there, and the geographical jurisdiction in the name is becoming irrelevant, right? How many of us trade on New York Stock Exchange or NASDAQ or whatever, right? It's very, very global. People want to buy global assets. People in India want to buy real estate in the US and vice versa. And because, people have different preferences for yields and so on, right? So what we have as a process of digitization is called an STO, security token offering. Everybody knows about this process by now, I hope. But in general, and very quickly, in order to make an asset, a real world asset, tradable, we have to create a structure, a legal structure, mainly a company, a special purpose vehicle that holds the asset. Now that company is going to issue a security, and that security is going to have its cap table. Cap table is where you record the ownership on the blockchain, right? It will be recorded on the blockchain so that the owners of that security can be trading that security, right? There are many exchanges that are popping up right now with licenses to trade. Trading security tokens is not the same as trading traditional crypto, because the exchanges actually need to have special licenses to trade. So I believe that both Binance and Coinbase have such licenses, although that has come under some scrutiny. So pretty soon we're going to be able to actually trade security tokens on the largest exchanges, and that's when this industry is going to absolutely go to the moon. Our company, Solid Block, did the first tokenization called the Aspen coin. We worked with the issuer, which was Elevated Returns, the company behind this project. We did all the technology for that project and the smart contract. So that project is now trading on T0 at a good premium. Actually, now I think it's a little lower. But that's a great example of a project that was very successful. I encourage everybody to look through. So what do we take away from this lecture? Well, number one is that tokenization brings liquidity and transparency, right? To traditional opaque industries such as real estate. We have other industries in line, commodities, even startups as well. But we have a huge markets waiting to be tokenized, right? So why does this bring us to Finance 2.0, to decentralized finance, right? Well, number one, we're supporting global investors, right? Global fundraising and trade. Right now we're combining centralized finance and decentralized finance. How? Well, it's actually very interesting. Even for us at Solid Block to solve the issue of being able to leverage your investment through a traditional bank loan and the DeFi loan, right? Like Maker and the traditional fund financing. And it's actually possible. It's very interesting. So tokenization opens the door to a variety of products, financial products. Some of them mimic traditional financial products, right? Like loans. We talked about loans. So, we have them in the DeFi. We can collateralize the tokens that we issue and issue loans. Think about all the indices and benchmarks, right? And derivatives that we can have. So tokenization is just in the center of a lot of other new products. So, and this is really cool because at Solid Block, we are actually, created a platform where third-party developers can come in and offer solutions, right? If you are a company or if you are an expert in derivatives in the traditional financial world, options, futures, how to build things, you're a financial engineer, come and work with us. We are building these products right now. We're working to sell them to institutions. It's not easy, but we're getting there. So if your specialty and if your specialization is trading on exchanges, fantastic. We're building interoperability of exchanges on the platform, different exchange tools, data, AI. Think about all these things that you will need in this huge industry. Think about when the internet came, right? So everybody kept saying blockchain is the new internet. Not exactly. Blockchain is the tool, right? Internet has a variety of tools that enable the World Wide Web, right? Blockchain is a tool that enables Finance 2.0, decentralized finance. Be your own bank, be your own investment bank. That is the new internet. So, and imagine all these different tools that we need right now for the new, for this new financial world order. So think about stable coins. Think about think about the traditional world of money transfers, right? Money transfers, investments, and things like that. So I talked about indices and benchmarks. I talked about exchanges and collateralization. That's it. So unless you guys have any questions, we can move on with the rest of the talks. Thanks.
Yeah, Yael, thank you so much. You can unshare your screen so you can see you in a better perspective. Everyone can see you in a better perspective, and also
Yeah.
so you can press that button. Yeah, awesome. So cool. So I have a couple of questions myself. We also have been I'd been involved in a certain project, and again that project has kind of come up across, and we're trying to build. As you're in real estate, there's something known as REITs, right? Real estate investment trusts. How do you see even blockchain? Do you see in the future blockchain playing a pivotal role in REITs and InvITs, investment based trust as well? Do you think there is any
Yeah,
kind of correlation there?
I think that REITs can also be tokenized. REIT is basically a fund, right?
Absolutely.
A fund that invests in different assets, and it's basically a fund tokenization. For us, it was important to find a way to tokenize individual assets because people may want to invest in whatever they like. Some people like fund managers to make decisions. It's like, when you invest, do you want to invest in a S&P 500 fund, or do you want to invest in Microsoft or Amazon?
Yeah.
So that's the difference. But
Okay.
yeah, REITs absolutely can be tokenized and should be and will be.
Yeah.
And I have
Absolutely.
a question for you. Do you have a nickname or a
It's
short
Abby.
name?
Yeah, it's Abby.
Abi. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. As simple as that. So pretty cool, Yale. And you're based out of Israel. Has Israel in itself seen tremendous progress in terms of tokenizing physical assets? Because at the moment, all the hype obviously is around actual digital native tokens that are be traded from different parts of DeFi or any other use case that they instill. But now when we're looking at or now when we're looking at real assets, it has Israel opened certain doors, and even when you talk about security tokens, which you did, STOs have STOs have a big role in terms of regulating of whatever happened back in 2017 should never have kind of happen again. And everyone's kind of even drinking their cold coffee, they're kind of blowing off the skimmed cream over the cold coffee. There's an old saying it's an Indian saying that you even drink cold things, like you blow on hot things, and you even drink cold things like that when you're burnt
Yeah.
from before. So positive things on security tokens and positive things on physical assets coming onto onto blockchain in Israel and in most parts where you can operate.
Yeah, and by the way, you have that in English too. Once burned by milk, you blow on
Yeah.
cold water. So cool. So yes, Israel is finally getting on board. It's very exciting. We had a lot of meetings with regulators and trying to convince them that it's time to open up for ATSs,
Yeah.
automated trading systems. And by the way, that is not yet a reality for most of the world, just the US. Automated trading systems, US and Europe. In Europe, you can also have exchanges that are have special licenses to trade digital security tokens.
Yeah.
So Israel 2 months ago came up with a law that enables creation of these other exchanges that are going to be competing with the traditional exchange. So
And these are licensed. These are completely licensed ones.
well, none of them exist yet, but now there is at least a framework to do it. And I know a few friends of mine have applied already for a license, or are in the process of application. Yeah. So check out Symmetria. I think they're going to be the first, hopefully. So, and the second thing about Israel is that we have a very well developed crypto ecosystem. Yes. We actually are kind of, there are many lawyers took upon themselves to go and sue local banks who didn't want to hold crypto, allow individuals, who received money in crypto and then to receive funds from them, right? Even though they passed KYC, ML, and so on and so forth. So the Supreme Court said the banks can do that. So, we do have kind of a sane approach to crypto. And also, we're a very small country. It's 7 million people, or maybe 8 million people now. And we rely heavily on high tech and software development. So if there's a new stream of income to be had from a new industry, we're not going to close up to that. So, that's a good thing. What was the second part of the question? Was there something?
No, the second part of the question was, have you seen a real use case in terms of the physical asset going towards blockchain
Oh,
in Israel?
yeah.
In Israel, have you seen, or any places that you operate in, apart from the St. Regis example that you gave?
Yeah.
Anything else that you can tell the audience? And also, someone asked the question, post
Oil and gas.
yeah, about the oil and gas. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you about that soon. So about Israel. So because literally until 2 months ago, individuals in Israel could not trade ever, on the security tokens on the back end. So now it's possible. We actually are working to find an asset in Israel that we can tokenize. So until now, there was not an asset essentially that have been tokenized and traded. So, but there will be very soon. So that's the first, and the second is
When you see marketplaces like Rory and OpenSea and others coming for digital collectibles and other art forms going NFT, soon you're saying when can we see the first real estate marketplace which has this kind of thing going about? And even like, do you think like fractional ownership would mean something to the digital estate market?
Yeah, I mean, that we have. Salablock has a marketplace where most of the, right now it's only for accredited investors for most assets. For foreigners though, we have a Reg S, what's called a Reg S, Regulation S. If you're a foreign investor, most of the time you do self-accreditation. You like self-certify as a qualified investor. So it's not as strict for foreigner investors. If you want to go on our website, get a piece of an asset right now, you can.
Awesome.
And we actually we have a collaboration with Dash. So Dash users can go and invest, but you're going to invest obviously in regular crypto as well. So, and in Israel, it's the same. Our marketplace is global. So we just need to add some Israeli assets, which by the way, Israeli real estate right now is going up really quickly, post-corona, especially hospitality. And everybody predicted, the total death of the hospitality industry. It doesn't seem to be the case.
Yeah.
Yeah, the offices is another story. So so in terms of oil and gas, we've been approached by multiple companies that want to tokenize oil quarries and all kinds of also gold mines, things like that. And so we like the idea. It's just frankly, I am not an expert in that industry, so I'm not going to take a project in that industry. What we're looking for is a viable partner who will take our platform as white label and will do commodities. You can do oil and gas, or you can do, gold or silver or anything else. And we'd be happy to help. It's just, for us as a startup, we have to focus on real estate, but there's value, value in tokenizing. And oil and gas, by the way, very, very quickly, it's a super interesting question. There is a big problem in the commodities industries that is also dominated by huge hedge funds. And as in crypto industry, we love to help the little guys and also, also smaller traders. So when you have an exchange that is able to, or a tokenization platform that is able to break that down into smaller chunks, that you don't have to trade in huge quantities, you can trade in smaller quantities, there's also a big, big opportunity there. So if anybody's interested, I'll be happy to speak with you guys.
Yeah, for sure. We're gonna make sure that everyone knows, you're behind tokenizing real properties on top of on blockchain. One more thing which comes to my mind, in general, is you being in the industry and taking that step and spearheading bringing real world assets on the blockchain. And we know one of the major entity in real world assets and in art is Sotheby's. And so you must have had a conversation, or maybe like you try to have inroads with Sotheby's. And so how was your experience with them, and what do you think? Are they inclined to get involved with you? And
I think so. I don't remember if I talked to them personally, because we talked to a lot of realtors
right? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I know that yes, some of our partners work with them. I
Yeah.
think that even our London Digital Bonds partner works with them just in general on the appraisal level and getting information for assets in London, I'm pretty sure. And are they keen? Anybody's keen to sell. So, if we're coming to them with a solution to sell, that's definitely going to work. In terms of art, we are involved with some projects right now in the art world. Stay tuned. Again, it's not our core. It's
Yeah.
not our.
Yeah.
It's not my core expertise. So we are going to be involved with a partner who has the core expertise in art. And then I have a small. I see there is a question here with excessive devaluation of fiat and falling interest rates. Is it
Yeah.
likely there will be stable coins that are not pegged to a fiat currency? Listen, you're right on the money for that.
Yeah. But
Yeah, we're creating. So one problem with solid block, as I see it, I mean, it's not a problem. It's just kind of like growing pains and progression. But problem that I want to solve is that solid block is centralized. We make decisions on all the things that come in, right? You come to me with a painting, I'm gonna say I don't understand anything about it. We're not gonna list it. So we make decisions on what we put on our platform, what we don't. We want to decentralize that decision making.
Right. So that is more inclusive.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah, exactly. So
but the whole point of being inclusive is the whole self-deterministic aspect of it. And
exactly.
as more people mature and the market matures over itself, things would turn out the way that we kind of visualized right now. But you're taking all the efforts in the right direction, Yale, and
Yeah. Let me
I
just
hope.
say this for a second to answer this question. So we're going to bring in institutions and real estate players to make decisions on a decentralized kind of proprietary blockchain. And then it will allow us to put big amount of real estate on the platform and put a stable coin that is pegged to the assets on the platform. So it's called
Yeah.
solid coin.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be the first, I don't know if the first, but I guess we're building a strong alternative to fiat backed currencies that are going down in value. Real estate is going up in value. So, and if you are interested, Siddiq, I'll be happy to talk to you more about that. And sorry, Abby, sorry to interrupt you. I know we're out of time, so don't worry. I'm ready to step down.
No, no, don't worry about that. Max is probably waiting. Max is the founder of Lisk, and he's going to be up next. Lisk has been a project where Lisk is a supporter of and a lover of JavaScript frameworks, and they created Lisk blockchain back in 2017 itself. I attended their major events in Germany, in Berlin, and met Max there as well. It's really cool what everyone's doing. Everyone's going to play their part. Obviously, the bull cycle has returned, and the summer's going to last forever, it seems, but we never know what happens tomorrow, so we're going to be true to the cause, staying focused. Yael, lovely speaking to you, and we hope that we can talk more in the future, and all the
Sure.
best. All the best. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Bye.